This will be a longer video, but I promise you it'll be worth it, with a lot of points you'll want to keep in mind. In video 7, we saw how important it is for you to manage your own viewpoint, commit and connect fully to the subject of your presentation. You also need to create connections between your subject and the audience. You need to find ways to make the subject relevant to the audience. Of course, to relate your subject to your audience, you first need to know who your audience is. In your preparation time, be sure to do the following. Identify who your listeners are. You may be able to find out who they are exactly. For example, if you're presenting to the board of your company, then obviously you will know them by name. Other times, you may not know exactly who the attendees are, but you can find out the characteristics of that audience. For example, if, like Rebecca, you are presenting to auditors, then there are general characteristics that auditors share. On the other hand, if you're presenting to a group of parents at a school to promote your new line of healthy snacks, then there will be general characteristics these parents share. Before you start preparing the contents of your presentation, spend time understanding your prospective audience. Do some research. There are many ways you can do that depending on your audience. Online research. If you will be presenting to a company to sell your products, it may be useful to know more about them. Visit their website. Observations. For example, if you'll be conducting an internal presentation on improving customer service, then observe how the customer service staff respond to customers and what they find challenging. Talk to members of the audience prior to the presentation. You can have an informal one-to-one chat or an interview with some of the members of the prospective audience. Or, if they're not available, you can talk to others who hold a similar opinion. Or conduct an opinion survey. I trained a project manager who was going to transform an entire hospital into a paperless environment. He was starting the implementation of the project with a presentation to all the staff. Before he even started preparing for his presentation, he conducted an opinion survey to better understand how much his colleagues relied on paper and the challenges they were going to face in the paperless hospital. Identify with the viewpoint of your audience. Really get into their shoes. To help you do that, ask yourself the following questions about the audience. What will make them sit up and listen during the presentation? What is of value to them? What do they fear or mistrust at work, in life, and about your subject? What are their personal goals, their work goals? What goals do they have regarding your subject? How does your presentation affect them? What benefits can you offer them through your presentation? These answers will help you match what you are saying to them. So, for example, John was promoting the expo services his company provided. Instead of just speaking about these services, John told his audience, you can grow your business by exposing your products to new markets. Our yearly Expo Now exhibition provides you the opportunity to exhibit your products to over 400,000 people from all over the world. Now, of course, it's easier when your audience have common interests and opinions between them. But what if they have differing opinions? Then divide your audience into subgroups as George did. George is the operations manager at a soft drinks manufacturing plant. He had initiated changes to the distribution of the drinks throughout the country in order to cut down on costs. He was asked to make an internal presentation to all the stakeholders within the company. He identified 4 main subgroups within his audience, each with different interests. Senior management, who were mainly interested in safeguarding the competitiveness of the drinks within the marketplace and reducing costs. Administration staff, on the other hand, were mainly interested in what they would need to change in their day-to-day work. Sales staff wanted to know how their itinerary would be changed and needed to be reassured that they would not be working extra hours. Call centre staff wanted to hear the impact these changes would have on their customers and what types of issues they would have to deal with as a result of these changes. Now, of course, if the subgroups have very different interests, then it may be better to hold different presentations for each subgroup. However, that may not always be possible. In that case, keep building connections between different parts of the audience and make what you say relevant to all. For example, when speaking about how some of the paperwork would change for the admin staff, George linked it to the sales staff. He said, "The admin team will be using these more simplified forms, and that way they will save time that they can then use to help support the sales team during the really busy periods." Well, that was a lot to take in. So feel free to stop and watch this again if you need to. In the next video, we'll talk about how to overcome the last stumbling block, which is giving your presentation a clear direction